Hey, it's Shabes, and welcome to another expedition of the Anime Encyclopedia. Let me move this down a little bit. Yeah, welcome to another edition of the Anime Encyclopedia. Thank you so much for waiting. I noticed that, like, a certain number of people were waiting, and then, like, a bunch of people dropped off. That was funny. Oh, well. I'm not going to be too pessimistic about that. Sorry I'm, like, kind of late. I mean, usually I like putting it on a set, like a whole number, like 7 or something, but I had to push it to 7:30 to try to make it, and even then I barely finished my reading. So thank you for your patience there. Let me know if the mixes are good, if the levels are all right. And I'm sorry I still don't have a a face cam. I'm so bad. Hello, what's buzzin', cousin? Hello, Cozy and Hakaru. We got a pretty good chunk today to talk about. We'll probably go over 2 hours. So I do want to get started relatively quick, but I'm going to make another tweet about that it's happening. It's happening! Hold on. Hope everyone's doing well. Tick 2. Yeah. Alright. Kakui. Well, let's get this going. Alrighty. Just gotta whoop. And I didn't even set my browser up. Oh, I just popped up OBS because I knew it was like super late and stuff. Let me just real quick. Yep. Okay. There's my notes. Woohoo! And right here we're in C, so these are all the new changes. And and I'm going to have that open for a little bit while I get my browser ready for if I want to like search something up. It's not that one I want. Go man. Let's see. Now. Okay. That should be fine. Back to notes. Studio. Alright. How are we still looking? Alright, let's get into it. So, California, this is a comparison for the first edition to the third edition. So I was taking a lot of time yesterday and then into today doing the comparisons, and then I had to quickly go back and read the whole thing again to look for spoilers and the like. But yeah, California Crisis is the first one listed. Hey Bob, good to see you. California Crisis, they changed New Jersey Crisis to Iowa Crisis. Let me give you some context for that. This was a kind of funny oopsie, or no, I don't know if it's an oopsie. It's just whatever is that in the background. It's Mukashi. It's Manga Sekai Mukashi Banashi from the 70s, and it's an AMV that I made last year, and it's like a 20-minute thing, so it loops. But these are like a number of sorted episodes that take kind of folk tales from all over the world. So there's other stuff like King Lear and Alice in Wonderland later and some other stuff. I finally saw Be Invoked. Sad to say I didn't like the show much, but the movie was better. At least you like the movie. I'm okay if you don't like the show. Like, I get it's a little divisive, but the movie, like, come on. If you don't like the movie, I'm a little sketched. I'm guessing I'm just not a fan of Tomino. I've seen all the Gundam he's direct. Oh, that's fair. I wasn't like a fan of his either until watching Gainer. That was like clicked. It was like, oh, Tomino is awesome. So I get people not liking Tomino. It's fine. Like the Gundam OVH without his involvement way more. Oh yeah, that's fair then. But yeah, New Jersey Crisis. I'm sorry, I'm delayed. Okay. The arbitrary plot, however, is of less importance to the filmmakers than a long, lingering tour of Californian beaches. Possibly since location hunting would be more fun on this project than on, say, something called New Jersey Crisis. So they changed that. They changed that to something called Iowa Crisis because they were like, wait, New Jersey's still like a coastal town, and they can like that, and like Jersey Shore and stuff. So they changed it to Iowa Crisis. I was like, because it's a landlocked state, I guess. That's funny. Yeah. So and in this one, this AMV playing right now is from Beauty and the Beast, and it's actually directed by Osamu Dezaki. This episode, so it's really cool. Anyway, but yeah, that was funny. Bunny Can. There's a new blurb describing episode 3 of 6, saying it doesn't have as much sex. This was just strange. I don't know why they included this. Like, I'll read this to you. Bunny Can. Why is it in B, by the way? Wait a minute. Can? I think it's because it's Can Bunny or something. Hold on, I'm scrolling. I'm scrolling on the 3rd edition here. Trying to find it. Where is it? Where is it? Wait. Bunny Can. What? Where is that? Can Bunny. I'm stupid. Yeah, it's called Can Bunny. Okay. Yeah, so they just add this sentence in the 3rd edition, at least. In the latter 3 episodes, Kenta heads off to the beach for the summer to help a friend run his restaurant and get still more action on the side. This story arc is notable for having more plot and much less sex. Because I guess it's a hentai? But, like, I don't know. It's just a weird extra sentence to like, you're just describing this random episode of I don't know. In the latter 3, I guess it's because, like, it's a story arc, and I guess it's sort of, like, notable in that way, I guess. But I don't know. It was just a strange thing to add after the fact. At least personally. Ho, hi, Roger. How you doing? Hi, Bob. Hope you review Anisama A when you finish it. Oh, yeah. I'm excited to see what you think of it, Bob. Onisama A is quite awesome. Quite the show. Candy. This is a good article. I'll probably talk about Candy a lot in this one. But they changed inexplicably to over hopefully. There's a let's see. Candy. Where is it? Inexplicably. It's like towards the end. Or maybe I have to Candy. Sorry, I'm scrolling a lot. Inexplicably? So they also added an entirely new paragraph about the creators falling out as well. I don't remember where it says inexplicably. Whatever. It was sort of like, oh, here it is. Yeah, a 26-minute short, inexplicably titled "Candy the Movie." So like they're just kind of roasting it for the fact they call it the movie, even though it's 26 minutes. Like, okay. And then they changed that in the 3rd edition to over hopefully titled "Candy the Movie," because they were like, oh, okay, I guess it's a little nicer. I don't know. It's just a strange word changing of. They usually don't change words that often like that in this way. I thought it was interesting. But yeah, they added this whole new paragraph, which I actually think is really good and interesting about Candy. I had no idea about this. In a dramatic twist worthy of Candy itself, the two creators had a spectacular falling out in the 90s after illustrator Igarashi attempted to claim sole copyright on merchandising spin-offs. Mizuki successfully sued, I assume that's the author, arguing that the images would never have existed in the first place without her 1975 novel, only for Igarashi to then sue the Toei studio over its management of trademarks. This has not only led to several other recurring legal actions over merchandise found to be unlicensed after the fact, but also a distinct unwillingness of anyone to get involved with Candy beyond the original novels. suggesting that the Candy Candy anime is a quote-unquote orphan work with no real owners. Several South American chancers have released unlicensed editions of the anime, daring the interested parties to settle their differences long enough to determine who should sue them. The Candy Candy case is a landmark in Japanese intellectual property, demonstrating not only the perilous issues of copyright with multiple owners, but the likely fallout from disputes arising, which, in this case, led to the original novelist refusing to write any more Candy Candy stories, claiming she was sick of the character. It should come as no surprise that the last 20 years have seen ever-rising numbers of corporate-owned franchises created by no single figure or by committees of creatives were under work-for-hire agreements. Similar arguments dogged the artistic heritage of Space Battleship Yamato, only ultimately resolved by the death of one of the plaintiffs, and caused the stillbirth of RGB Adventure after only 6 episodes. So I thought that was really interesting and a really good insight. They also spoil Candy Candy, like, very inexcusably, multiple times. I'm like, Jesus, don't tell me everything. maybe because they know it's not ever gonna be licensed here, maybe. Yeah, I'll be reviewing it soon. Goat Nisama A. Ironically, I watched it because I thought it would be a happy shoujo. Oh no. It's the first anime I've seen not knowing it's an anime. Oh yeah. Whoops. Yeah, with Brainchild. Very good to see you, Brainchild. Yeah, with freaking Candy Candy. Oh, I do want to see it now, honestly. I'm doing okay. I decided to watch the rest of Binchotan and surprisingly cared. It's pretty chill. I might start watching watching it before. Yeah, Binchotan is in like is that the one apparently we're supposed to care? Apparently we're supposed to care. I think that one maybe. Oh my god. Oh, cool. Some shorts can be surprisingly refreshing, yeah. My mom had at multiple occasions gone off to me about how there was this show from her childhood called Candy that she hated. Apparently she really hates those big moe eyes. Oof. Too bad. I've been meaning to watch Candy Candy. Yeah, and apparently it's like it's a very huge, it sounded a lot like Ashita no Naja. It seemed like Ashita no Naja was very inspired by this show. They also note this. Distant memories of a handsome prince helping her in early life was also lifted for Utena. I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, the result would be they're after like Candy Candy was a huge like a media juggernaut for them, like Toei, for like spin-offs and merchandise and stuff like that. That's kind of like they're saying that's kind of what led to like Sailor Moon, like Toei doing Sailor Moon and stuff like that. Yeah, I heard about the author-artist conflict, not the rest of that. Sadly, because of it, we'll almost certainly never get Candy Candy in any illegal form until one of them dies. Yeah, I haven't seen I don't know how old they are. I wonder. But then their estate will probably just be protective of it. Fair. Yeah, but that's too bad. But it was interesting. I was happy they mentioned that. I did have that marked as one of the good ones. Like, yeah, that was good. Harlock. Oh boy, Captain Harlock. Whoo, they heavily reworked the synopsis of the OG anime because they kind of got it wrong. And then they added a paragraph about the 2001 series and the 13 movie, and there's a few cut lines as well. That one is pretty significantly reworked. And the worst part of it is because of this conflict, there's nothing close to a proper HD release. I'm not even sure it managed to get to DVD. Oof. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, this happened in the 90s. Their dispute happened in the 90s, so it could have been on, like, at least on physical media by then. At least it's not, like, lost media or something. But, yeah, you're probably right. But also it's Toei. Like, Toei made... Like, I don't doubt that they lost the materials for this shit. If they lost it for Dragon Ball, I mean, Candy Candy's, I guess, popular enough, but probably not anymore. Especially after that. What was I going to look up? Sorry. Harlock, yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so here's the original 2001 edition, their original synopsis for Captain Harlock. Leiji Matsumoto's tale of space piracy began in Shonen Sunday in 1977 and was set 1,000 years in the future, 2977. Captain Phantom F. Harlock of the Solar Federation refuses to surrender his warship Death Shadow. He scuttles his vessel, refusing a post with the Illumidas race that has conquered Earth. Joining forces with the engineer Tochiro, who has just completed the pirate ship Arcadia, Harlock swears to overthrow the invaders. Harlock also teams up with Tadashi Daiba, a disaffected orphan who hates the Earth's new government, and discovers that the Illumidas invasion is a front for the Mazone, a race of alien plants that have adopted the form of human women. Mortally wounded in battle, Tochiro's dying wish, this happens at the beginning of the series, by the way, it's not much of a spoiler, that his daughter Mayu, a character created for the anime, should be able to live on a free Earth. And Harlock promises to protect her. Doing so eventually costs him his eye, which I don't remember. I don't know if that. I guess that's the case. Perhaps in like the other. I'll explain in a second. Harlock assembles a crew that includes Mime, the last of an alien, blah blah blah, and from there it pretty much is the same. They seem to mix the 78 synopsis with the 22 episode prequel Arcadia of My Youth Endless Orbit SSX, like the 82 series. And then they put in this parentheses in the first series, in the first edition, they put an arc included in the above synopsis. So like they mix the synopsis from the prequel that came out in 82 with the stuff that happens in 78, which is the whole stuff with the Mazone and Mayu and stuff like that. So they changed that completely. They kind of cut that out pretty much, and they're just like, it leads a crew of outlaws on the ship Arcadia, determined to resist the invasion of Earth by the Mazone, a plate race, and then like, okay, that's more like the 78 synopsis. That's more accurate. Then they add this entire paragraph. Let me read the chat a little bit more. So the episodes that are out, they're heavily variable in VHS quality. Yeah. Like they added this entire new paragraph here. This is kind of funny. Like Osamu Tezuka, Leiji Matsumoto is apt to reuse a set cast of characters from title to title, regardless of whether the show actually relate to one another. This has led Harlock to develop a complex and contradictory, quote-unquote, continuity, a word we use advisedly because Matsumoto does not seem to have intended duplicate character images and names to necessarily indicate any relationship. Hence, many anime based on other Matsumoto works allude to Harlock, intentionally or otherwise, although it should be noted that Matsumoto and his collaborators often want to have their cake and eat it, recycling characters with impunity, proclaiming any apparent contradictions to be irrelevant, but often creating situations that are difficult to comprehend without an appreciation of several other works, which the audience has already been told are quote-unquote unrelated. Consequently, our account of what happens in the Harlock series is also subject to debate. Particularly since it is contradicted by some, but not all, of what happens in later incarnations in the franchise, some of which have been misleadingly billed as sequels when they are in fact remakes. And then they go into kind of a similar, they kind of describe that a little more. Oh my gosh, the Harlock section is so long, because they go into like each particular one, and they add some paragraphs here and there. They just seemed especially frustrated by the Leiji-verse, you know? I just thought it was funny. As someone who is completely agnostic to it, acknowledges that it's ridiculous. But like, it's funny that they just kind of got it wrong. I think they were just butthurt that like so many people probably jumped down their throats in the 2001 edition, because like there's actual fans of Harlock in that, and I think the reason a lot of this remained unchanged between 2001 and 2015 is that there weren't any fans or enough fans that spoke up about these things. Where it's like, of all these odd choices in the encyclopedia, like enough people probably bitched about Angel's Egg or Captain Harlock for them to actually change it, sometimes begrudgingly. First time I am here when it's live. Yeah, good to see you. Hey, Arian? I'm saying the katakana is not the best. I'm sorry. Good to see you though. Remember when they snuck into the enemy's home and started murdering them as they slept? Harlock was brutal. Yeah, Harlock, sad, willy blonde, and potato person. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Harlock either, and so I'm not like as butthurt perhaps about their handling of this, I guess. But There was another one that I'll probably talk about the odd choices later, but they do seem to be pretty butthurt about this. It was pretty funny. A lot of changes, and I don't really want to bog the entire stream talking about it, to be honest with you. It could take kind of a while. But I will say there's a lot of retooling in this. But I wanted to read that particular chunk. They also added a particular chunk which I thought was kind of interesting. I didn't know about this. It's about Cosmo Warrior Zero, which obviously wouldn't have happened in the first edition, so this is a new blurb. A servant of the machine people tasked with hunting him down in the depths of space. The series included a 2-episode prequel, the 13-episode Space Pirate Captain Harlock, directed by Rintaro and written by Perfect Blue's Sadayuki Murai, was to feature Harlock attempting to reunite the crew of the Arcadia to defend the Earth from an ancient evil. Although production was halted at Matsumoto's own request when he discovered that animators were using a Star of David to represent the quote-unquote root of all evil, an anti-Semitic touch with which Matsumoto refused to have any association, and that led to the series' broadcast being canceled. However, it did make it onto video in an edited format, and was released in America as Captain Harlock, Space Pirate. I did not know about that. That's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. Anywho. What did they originally say about Angel's Egg? They got the synopsis entirely wrong, Bob. It was really... Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. It was just a bad synopsis. It wasn't entirely wrong. It was just like, if you read it out loud, it's like, this is Garbo. And so they retooled it a lot. Like, it's much better synopsis in the third version. Yeah. Yeah. I did not know about that, about the Star David thing. Holy shit. Matsumoto just reuses similar designs, but they're different characters. It's like saying Dragon Ball and Chrono Trigger share the same characters because Toriyama designed them. I don't know necessarily. They talk about a little later how different Harlock is in his original TV series versus his appearances in Galaxy Express 39, like based on their personalities, I guess. But you know. I can get I can understand being butthurt. I probably would not have mentioned it. I did not know about this about Harlock either, and it's weird that they have this in the first edition and in the third edition. I did not know about this weirdness about it. I have to find it. Like they're still kind of butthurt about how weird it is. It's a big article. I'm sorry. I'm trying to scan and look for it. Oh yeah, that's another weird choice. But I'll talk about that one later. I have that listed as odd choices, but there's one here that I'm just like, what? Sorry. Where is it? It's about like the identity of Harlock being Godai from Space Battleship Yamato. I'm like, I never had that inclination ever. Where did you get that? Yeah. This is so weird. They complain more about the canonicity. Paramount among the confusions is the claim that Harlock is really Mamoru Kodai from Star Blazers from Space Battleship Yamato. But although Mamoru does indeed disguise himself as a space pirate called Harlock in the manga, not the anime of Space Battleship Yamato, he is copying a character from a comic book by Leiji Matsumoto. Like, I didn't know about that. And is it really paramount among the confusions if it's one instance that happens in the manga, right? You know, I don't know. That was just a weird addition to me. I don't know. I didn't write that down though. Later, you can't really describe Angel's Egg. It's a very cerebral experience. Well, no, I guess you can't, but you can at least describe it better than this. I do read the synopsis and compare them earlier in an earlier VOD, Bob, but the original one is, in a timeless, placeless Everytown, a boy with a crucifix arrives and meets the sole inhabitant, a young girl. She shows him her most treasured possession, a magical egg, which she believes will hatch one day. When the girl is asleep, the boy smashes the egg open but finds that it contains nothing. The girl dies, and the boy heads off alone. Like, I'm sorry it's kind of spoiled Angel's Egg for you, but But like, that's such an awful synopsis. It's so bad. Just like really like minimal. I thought his name was Susumu Kodai. Oh, it might. I don't know. I've seen that Yamato, but I can't remember that much. They'd have a hard time reading manga. Some manga is hard to tell who's who. Yeah. Okay, let's move on from Yamato. I'm sorry that took, that was a whole darn thing. Captain Tsubasa. They totally missed Tsubasa J in the first edition. And they don't even have it as like a new, like there are some, and there's some later, over here, like there's new entries and stuff like they don't include in the first one that they do in the third. But this is like part of a franchise, and it messes with their wording too. Because they say about Captain Tsubasa, in 1993, reality caught up with fiction as a professional Japanese soccer league was finally established. An opportunity exploited in Shoot Kickers and Free Kick for Tomorrow, but surprisingly not by Captain Tsubasa. After the one-shot video Holland Youth, Tsubasa faded away, only to return in a 2001 series. No, it didn't! There was a TV series, Tsubasa J, in 1994. Which they do include in their third edition. So they word this differently. In reality, came up with fiction, an opportunity exploited in Shoot Kickers and Free Kick for Tomorrow, as well as Captain Tsubasa, with the second TV series, Captain Tsubasa J. And then they say, after that, Tsubasa faded away. Only it came back. Like, I don't know why you would say faded away. Like, it's from 94 or whatever to 2002. You don't really say that about, like, other ones. Like, this series returned this year or whatever. I don't know why you have that little part. Well, what? That's what happens when you expect all anime to tell a story. I mean, yeah. Yeah. It was funny. Yeah. Okay, so they completely missed that. And there's a new blurb about the localization inspiring athletes, which is cool. Card captors, which of course they listed as card captors and not card captor Sakura, of course. Line begrudgingly acknowledging the change of spelling from Xiaolong to Xiaoran. Like, okay, one of my rules with this stream, right, is not to be scrutinizing the different spellings and stuff like that. Not to say Xiaolong is a misspelling, but they change it in the first edition from Xiaolong to Xiaoran, and then it has this sentence at the next sentence after they introduce Xiaoran. They say, "Our spelling of the names here reflect the ham-fisted romanization of the English language edition, rather than any knowledge of actual Chinese." It's very begrudging, because I'm sure a bunch of Cardcaptor fans jumped down their throat about that. They're like, it's pronounced. And they're like, well, actually. I'm like, that was funny. Oh well. Ham-fisted romanization of the English language edition. Okay. And then they do add a blurb of they forgot. Not really forgot, I guess, but they didn't mention the little short films that happened in the 2000 series. New blurbs about that. They changed Chloe Reed. There's a character Chloe Reed, and they show up in the 99 movie. They changed from original card captor. They call Chloe Reed the original card captor to the card's original creator, which is fair, because those are two different things. So the difference between the person who made the cards and the one who captures the cards. And then they added the little sentence about the fact that the characters have alternate versions of themselves in Tsubasa Chronicle. Just talking about that. That doesn't. They don't mention that in the first edition, which I think is fair, because Tsubasa came out in like 01. Okay, you guys have me curious. I'm going to hunt down Benjo-tan and see if I'm supposed to care. Have a good stream. Okay, see you, Bob. Yeah, right, it doesn't seem to have deep disdain for everything slice of life. Yeah. Hey, I've seen some very pedantic people insist it should be Xiaolong. Like, sure. I wonder if Clements knows Chinese. I know he's written books about China. I wouldn't put it past either of them to make that distinction, honestly. Clements or McCarthy, but it might be Clements. I don't know. There's no way to tell unless they claim ownership. Cash Earn. They rearranged a bit. They had like a little weird rewording, nothing too big. And there's a new paragraph about the live action film, Los Angeles film, about the live action film, and of course the 2008 series Sins. They don't really give their opinion about that though. Laputa, they have a new paragraph about this forgotten 80s dub, and they reworded a sentence, which I did not know about. I did not know about this dub. In addition to the widely available Buena Vista release featuring the voices of Anna Paquin and James Vanderbeek, a lesser-known 80s dub also exists, commissioned by Tokuma and broadcast several times in English-speaking territories. This earlier variant is sometimes erroneously credited to Streamline Pictures, but was solely a Tokuma production, which Streamline distributed. Interesting. Although I could have sworn I heard about that, the Streamline version, from Carl Masik's interview with Ancast. I think he talked about that. And I feel like they didn't... It's credited, I don't know. I could have sworn that he talks about like having worked on it or just like commissioned a dub for it or whatever. But obviously it wasn't them that made it or something. I don't know. Anyway. Laputa. Okay. Cat Soup. They moved it to C after being listed as Nekojiru Theater in the first edition. So it's called Nekojiru Theater in the first edition, then they moved in the third edition, Cat Soup. Changed from 10 4-minute episodes to 2-minute 27 episodes in a 34 minutes. So they're pretty... I don't usually check this. I don't usually check discrepancies here because that would be a lot of work for me. But that was just something I happened to glance at and notice. I'm like, oh, that's interesting and different. And they also... they cut off this little sentence, Cat Soup. Cut off the air. Let me find it. Nekojiru Theater. I have to look in the first edition for Nekojiru. Nekojiru Theater. The series was soon taken off the air because it was considered too hard-hitting even for late-night TV. And then the third edition says, but was considered too hard-hitting even for late-night TV. That was broadcast back. So they don't... I think they put some... They were wrong or something about it, that they cut this line, saying it was soon taken off the air. It was not taken off the air, apparently. Interesting. At least they corrected that. Kakko Nuku Nuku was moved... They kind of do some... They do a lot of shifting in this particular chunk of reading. Clarified Ryan is from the UK dub. They just put like character parentheses Ryan in the first edition, and then they're like Ryan is from the UK dub in the third edition. They have like divorce. The first edition says acrimonious divorce, and then the third edition just says divorce. Okay, embellished weapon factory to Japan's largest military conglomerate. Someone definitely was like, actually, it's not just any weapon factory. It's important to mention it's actually the largest military. I was like, okay. Catnapped. Oh boy, Catnapped. What an article. There's a number of changes to this, and I mentioned it in their review piece, or like I've noted it elsewhere. But pretty much all of these rewordings make it sound meaner. Like, it's more condescending. They went from Toriyasu is inconsolable to lazy 5th grader Yasuo nicknamed Toriyasu. And then they went from he and his sister Miko to he and his precocious younger sister, 2nd grader Miko. You know what I mean? And then they go from High Priest Sonata to Magician Sonata, Cursed Witch Queen Whose Touch to Cursed Princess and Would-Be World Conqueror Whose Touch. And then that will restore Papadol to... That will put Papadol asleep so that Toriyasu can attach his chain to his collar and hence restore him to normality. And then they also had this little part where they say that the backgrounds are 3D rendered. So this says featuring a 3D rendered fondant world. So they cut 3D rendered because maybe they had a wrong assumption about that. Maybe they thought it was 3D. But you know what I mean? It was just a strange a lot of like particular small tweaks to the synopsis for a movie that they very much disliked. Well, they just seem to be very negative towards, which I'll go into when we go to opinions. Ceres. So I thought that was strange. Ceres, Celestial Legend, is almost entirely rewritten. I don't remember if this is the one. Let me see. There's a particular one that's like, whoa. Yeah. It's weird. So, like, the initial... I don't know if I should read the whole thing. But basically, what they do here is they give the backstory instead of, like, what you see as an audience for the first time. It would be like describing what happens the night of the in Naruto, you know, like episode 1 in Naruto. They have a brief thing of the nine-tailed fox attacking, and it would be like the synopsis would be what actually happened that night, and describing like the fourth Hokage and all this other, you know, everything that happened that night. Instead of like, you know, Naruto is a boy that you know. So like the new synopsis is kind of like gives the actual kind of back of the box synopsis, like the actual what kind of seems the realistic synopsis, and then this one just kind of gives the long ago, you know, many generations. It doesn't give you the sense of what the series is about actually, which is interesting. I actually know Ceres, by the way, in case I think the Japanese one sounds a little more familiar. Anywho, still streaming. Let's see. Moved Chancer Princess to Detatoko Princess. Synopsis is this is the one I was thinking of. The synopsis is almost entirely rewritten, and there's a latter paragraph that was tweaked as well. This is really interesting. This was quite the shock. I'm gonna talk about it later on. Not gonna spoil it. Otokochiku, they added a footnote about the president of Taiwan cosplaying as Edajima Heihachi. It's the bald principal of the school. Watashi wa otokoto juguchiksho Edajima Heihachi de aru. Favorite character. Probably my favorite part of the show. Maybe why I didn't like the latter half of it, because he doesn't show up as much. But a nice little added footnote. That's cool. Moved Charm Point to Tale of Two Sisters. So they have Charm Point in the first edition, and then they moved it to T for Tale of Two Sisters. And then they added this little, not to be confused with Korean horror movie Tale of Two Sisters, I guess. Okay. Chibi Mariko-chan, they added this blurb about being broadcast in California without subs. And there's a 3-part live-action miniseries. Okay. Child's Toy. In the third edition, they have an added sentence that it was released in the U.S. as Kodacha. Yeah. This was an interesting case where I probably want to mention in the odd choices or something. I didn't write it down exactly. But, like, it is funny with how they chose to organize this encyclopedia based on what fans would recognize it as. So they put, you know, Gigantor, Star Blazers, Robo, you know, well, they do put Macross and Robotech as separate entries. Stuff like that. But then, like, when you were presented something with, like, Kodacha, which is the name people know it of, you localize it something else anyway. You know, you give it its own cryptic. I don't know hardly anyone that calls it Child's Toy. Anyway. But it's interesting they kind of begrudgingly mentioned that. Ceres is kind of wild. Honestly, the way they described it, I was like, this kind of sounds cool. That sounded like interesting to me. I like the synopsis of that one. At least the revised one. Moved Chopo the mischievous angel to Chippo. They kind of I guess they had a different spelling last time. Added a blurb connecting the Japanese title to the Japanese title of The Flying Nun. This was weird. This was kind of like, okay. Let me read this real quick. Let me find it. I'm sorry. Chippo. Note that Itazura Tenshi, Mysterious Angel, was the Japanese title of the American TV series The Flying Nun. on the coattails of which the producers were presumably hoping to ride. Yeah, I guess. Sure. Weird speculation, I guess, but interesting, I suppose. Kind of in line, I guess, because Flying Nun is from 1967 and Chippo is from 1970, so sure. I feel like it's kind of a different. The way they were describing it, it doesn't sound the same, so I don't know. Clan of Pihoro removed italics from Satoshi Dazaki. Okay. Kadocha's getting Blu-rays. I want them. Well, they, in Japan or with Discotheque? Because I'm pretty sure we're doing a standard definition Blu-ray, so it's still it's not HD. If that's what you're referring to. It's also like, I don't think that show can be saved unless it gets scanned again, which, like, it's 100 episodes. I don't think it will. It's darker and weirder than Fushigi Yugi, but the characters and drama are more compelling. Cool. I want to see Fushigi Yugi as well. Clan of Pihoro removed italics from Satoshi Dazaki because they're, it was a small detail because they're like, it's directed by Satoshi Dazaki with Sugino designs, unlike what it's normally paired with his brother Osamu. I'm like, okay. Clan of the Kawarazaki is a new sentence about the 2004 sequel, of course. Moved Kabi to Chobi the cute little cat. There's several instances of this where I thought we had a new entry from an old like a brand new entry, like one of these, but whatever. It was just moved somewhere else. Okay. They fixed a little typo in Cleopatra. They had a little with Cleopatra there. I know. I'm noticing these little details, like being this comprehensive with my comparisons for the most part. Hopefully, I'm recording on pretty much everything. Changed where it was the first animated film to receive an X rating to allegedly the first film to receive an X rating. So they thought it was the first one, and then this was not actually. In fact, it was never submitted to the MPAA, presumably for fear that after all the hype, it wouldn't get one. They kind of try to spin that on it, like, oh, it's kind of a little dig on the movie, even though they clearly said that it was trying to be the first anime. It was the first one. A little misinformation right there. Oopsie. Added blurb about Tezuka's habit of passing budgetary shortfalls. I mean, actually, Brainchild, since you're here, let me read the Cleopatra entry. I feel like you might be interested. So first of all, they obviously listed as Cleopatra, Queen of Sex. Of course they would. Let me pull up the third edition as well, just so I can also read that a little bit. I could just read the third edition, honestly, because it's not too different. Cleopatra. Yeah. Queen of Sex. 3 young people from the 21st century have their minds sent back into the past, into the bodies of people living in Alexandria at the time of Julius Caesar's first meeting with Cleopatra. One of the 2 young men is a lecher who vows that he will seduce Cleopatra instead of just watching, having won over Caesar, depicted as a cigar-chomping American politico riding in a horse-drawn edsel, and Mark Antony. Cleopatra is defeated by Octavian's homosexuality and takes her own life. I kind of don't remember that. Like, maybe that's right. I kind of, like, it's just a weird wording. Cleopatra is defeated by Octavian's homosexuality and takes her own life. Maybe that's true. I don't remember that, personally. My friend Caitlin adores it and has since she was a teen. Cool. I'm talking about the Blu-rays from Discotheque. I like the first half way more than the second half, but oh well. Yeah, it's fair. I started Fushigi Yugi forever ago. I should get back to watching it. Oh, don't watch the OVAs. They suck. Oh, yeah. Fair enough, then. I will advise. If they're not canon, then say less. Or maybe they are canon and they'll probably watch it anyway. Anyway. Screened in the U.S. cinemas, where it was allegedly the first animated film to receive an X rating. In fact, it was never submitted to the MPAA, presumably for fear that after all the hype, it wouldn't get one. Cleopatra's release coincided with a temporary suspension of business at Mushi Pro, a financial disaster in Japan and misleadingly marketed in the U.S. as a hardcore erotica. I don't remember hearing about it coinciding with a temporary suspension of business, but maybe that's true. Cleopatra was Astro Boy creator Tezuka's last-ditch attempt to recoup money for his troubled company, though the production was reportedly characterized by defecting animators who had realized that little could save Mushi and stole anything that was not nailed down. And then this part was added in the third edition. In part, the problems had been caused by Tezuka's own habit throughout the 1960s of passing on budgetary shortfalls from one production to the next. Although this stood him well during the boom era, it created an ever-widening money pit in straitened times. When his earlier 1001 Nights failed to recoup its cost at the box office, he began production on Cleopatra's already 9.1 million yen in the red. The production and this is back in the general edition, first and third. The production salability was not helped by Tezuka's own artistic experiments, including the opening scenes set in the future as an ironic reversal of the distinctive animation style of the US series Clutch Cargo. Whereas Clutch Cargo featured live mouths matted onto animated faces, Cleopatra's future scenes were shot as live action but with anime faces matted onto the human actors. Other art house experiments included the foolhardy anachronisms, such as gladiatorial combat staged as TV events, and the murder of Caesar presented as a kabuki drama, a famous scene from Chushingura, see Woof Woof 47 Ronin, bringing the story to a screeching halt for several minutes. And then they also cut a line from the first edition saying, compared to Tezuka's earlier success with Arabian Nights. Yeah, compare it with the part of the trilogy that it's from that you have neglected to mention. They don't. I think they did this with Arabian Nights too. There's no mention of anime Rama at all. I don't think they know. I don't think they even notice, which is a terrible gag, but that's Cleopatra for you. The stealing anything they want that wasn't nailed down really didn't happen until after Cleopatra, and that was mostly Nishizaki. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was just a weird article to me. I thought your great. I mean, obviously your blog, you know, how much you read, you write about Cleopatra can't fit in an entire encyclopedia, but I don't know, I just still found this like kind of lacking personally. Does the book have a section on Tales from a Street Corner? It's fantastic and the best thing I've seen from Tezuka. Let's Control F and find out. Tales from a Street. Oh, there is 0 results. Tales from. I'm looking up Tales from Earthsea, Tales from Northern Japan, Tales from the Secret Annex, and Stories. I don't think that's it. Tales from Russia, Tales from Earthsea, Tales from Pre-War Tokyo, Tales from Earth Ayatra, Tales from Gigantor, Tales from Central. I have to look up the Romaji for it, because if I search that, it will probably come up. Because they probably have it localized to something stupid and different. As usual. Arumachikado. One result. Arumachikado no Monogatari from 1962. Yes. Tales of the Street Corner. Tales of the Street Corner. They do have an article about it. But we won't, you can request that in free read, but I want to move on. Tales of the Street, oh, okay. That's why. Sorry for all that, wasting that time. Compared to 1001 Nights, which is less of a disaster. Yeah, they say it was successful, so. Maybe it comes up on the section on Tezuka? I doubt it. Let me Control F Anime Rama. 0 results in the 3rd edition. Anime Rama. 0 results. Let me look up Tezuka. Oh, that's a bad idea. 411 results. Very fair. Maybe it's an O for Osamu Tezuka? I'm going to look up there. Oh, their section must be huge. Must be fucking fat. Oh. Where would that... Wait. Tezuka Osamu? Would they put it in T? I'm looking for their bio. Yeah, they would. Tezuka Osamu. I'm just going to scan it real quick. Okay. His early successes stumbled in the late 1960s as Mushi production lost money, causing Tezuka to embark on more quote-unquote adult fare, such as 1001 Nights, and questionable deals which found creations such as his Triton of the Sea ending up in the hands of others. Tezuka left Mushi Pro in 1971 as the company spiraled into chaos and returned with Tezuka Productions, a new company that continued to make meaningful contributions to the anime world. Nope. Absolutely no idea. They have absolutely no idea. Very interesting. I can't see them making a separate section just for his shorts. They talk about Belladonna? Yes, Tragedy of Belladonna, it has its own section. I kind of suspect they don't like it. I kind of have a sinking suspicion they don't like that film. But we'll find out when we get all the way there to T. Unless someone wants me to request it for open read. It was moderately in Japan only. Like, ranked third in its opening weekend, but they still lost 9 million yen on the film. Yeah. Yeah. Fair. And, yeah. Pretty much it. Okay. So there's new entries, which I'll read in the third edition. Casebook of Charlotte Holmes from 1977. Chargeman Ken from 1974. They didn't have Chargeman Ken in the first edition. It's so weird. That's so weird to me, right? They have Astro Ganger, but maybe Astro Ganger has a little bit more to it, right? But, like, Chargeman Ken is, like, kind of infamous, right? I'm just interested that they didn't have that in the first edition. Cho-Chan Story from 1997, and Class Reunion from 1997, to my knowledge. Maybe they shifted it somewhere else, but I couldn't find it in the first edition that I could find. All right. I didn't do any of the counts yet, but I did revise the total as of the A and B section. There's a total of 20 positive reviews, and there's 48 positive reviews in the third one. So I don't know if that's because of how many more entries there are. It probably is, but I don't know. Interesting. But here's some new reviews, some new positive reviews. Didn't get released on DVD until the 2000s. Yeah, so some positive reviews. Captain Future, remarkably faithful to the original, well served. And so it's apparently like a Lensman situation, but it's actually decent apparently. That's pretty cool. Card Captor Sakura, it's a little backhanded. They don't really straight up give a praise for this show. They just kind of like take shots at the localization, and it says it ruined what made the original so interesting. I'm like, I guess that's a positive for the show, in a way. Laputa, the only positive thing they say about it is that it has a believably human cast, and then they go on to say that, like, oh, it takes from Nausicaa and from Mononoke. I'm like, okay. Cagliostro, they liked. It was superbly paced. Lupin's best screen outing. And you might notice, wait, Cagliostro, Lupin, what? No, we'll get that in a second. Catgirl Nuku Nuku, surprisingly accurate study of marital breakup. I don't know if they intended this one to be positive or not. I couldn't tell. But this is the only kind of opinion they give in this one, so like I'd count it. I certainly count it. Cinderella, additional plot points add to the intrigue. It's a little minimal. They don't really give their opinion really in the same way. I think once I get through all of these, which is a lot, I'll probably go back and be like, all right, how many of these are they really going in as like, this is my review of this anime? Or because there's definitely certain ones that they do feel like it's a review, and this other one where they're kind of giving their little backhanded like little like a little opinion thing. I'll obviously keep all the record of it, but in terms of, I'll probably make a specific, like, here's, they wrote reviews for these particular shows in some places. What do they mean that Laputa takes from Mononoke? Let's find out. Gassel, my asshole. 136. Sorry, hold on. Castle this guy. Let me see. It shares many elements with both its predecessor Nausicaa and Miyazaki's later Princess Mononoke. That's it. Yeah? Okay? I don't know. I don't know what they mean by that. It's funny. Let's see. Where am I at? Okay. Cypher the video! Let's go! Let's go! This is one of those, like, I was dreading. I was wincing, clenching my butthole, waiting for them to tear this one a new one. And they call it a true curiosity and an earnest and ultimately touching treat for manga fans. Let's go! They also kind of like be like, oh, a little self-indulgent making of documentary, and they take some pot shots at some things here and there, but like that's positive. That is unabashedly a positive impression for Cypher the fucking video. I can't believe it, man. Oh, like that gave me so much dopamine when I read that. I was like, oh, let's go. I can't believe it, man. That's great. Fuck. I can read that whole one if you guys want me to later, the open read or whatever. But man, no, I was happy about that. They describe it pretty accurately, and it's like, yeah, let's go. All right, negative reviews. Can Bunny. It's a porno retread, and then they have this wording where they're like, as with the superior video girl eye. Like, dude, why do you have to punch down like that, you know? Like, I don't get it. It's a part of this, like, media poisoned mentality they have, where if they see something even remotely that they reminds them of this other better media, they're gonna be like, this show did it better, you know? And they're just gonna mention that, like, superior, like, and that's kind of what I, with this thing. I think it's impossible for anyone to hate Cypher. You'd be surprised. I mean, Mal certainly doesn't like Cypher. It's like a 4 point something on Mal. But if you actually like engage with it in earnest and like understand where it's coming from, it's great. I love it. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, that's pretty negative in my opinion. Cookie cutter designs don't distinguish from author's other work, and the author would get more luck with Rye. They don't. I'm kind of getting some slim picket. There's some of these right where it's very clearly they're just kind of it seems negative, but it is an opinion. But in terms of like reviews, it's not much. Captain Harlock, I did put this as negative. They don't outright say anything negative about the show. It's like the content itself, but they don't say anything positive either. And they just seem very very hard pressed about the complex and contradictory continuity. And then this is a little other telling little note. They say that has unexpected it gained unexpected fans abroad. They're like, oh, you like this shit? Like I think kind of feel like that, you know? Kind of embarrassing to punch down a hentai. I don't know, man. They could, you know, I understand. Yeah, whatever. Fair enough. Oh my God, Catnapped. Let me read you the review for Catnapped. Oh my God. So I knew that this this review was not positive. I'd seen this when if you YouTube Anime Encyclopedia, there's a video by Deadstock Paradise, this other Ashino Frog or Tactical Fiend, some other guy, Buster Beam, goes by a lot of names. Put this video out a while ago, and I knew about it, and like I'm actually kind of featured in the video a little bit because he kind of champions my video, which like kind of makes up terms, and it's not a great look. But he's just kind of taking a lot of pot shots at this encyclopedia for certain. And Catnapped is one of them. Let me read the. So the synopsis is it pretty. Oh, I didn't write that down. Spoilers for Catnapped. Oh yeah, Lapida, they recount the entire plot as well. As well as Catnap. Pretty much. Let me read the review here. Featuring a fondant world spinning in the light of a gold paper sun, marshmallow skies, balloon cats, giant floating mice, and even a girl with kaleidoscope eyes in Bubelina, Catnapped is a hallucinogenic mixture of Yellow Submarine and Alice in Wonderland that ultimately fails through its dispassionate precision. The candy-striped design and childish worldview seem almost calculatedly endearing, but no amount of brainstorming and focus groups can make up for true magic, such as Miyazaki's My Neighbor Totoro, which Catnapped would very much like to be. What? What? Kyoto Video also did a nice video on Catnapped a while back. He liked it. Yeah. No, so, okay. So if you don't know, Catnapped is directed by Takashi Nakamura. And is also co-written by Takashi Nakamura, with designs by Takashi Nakamura, and animation by Takashi Nakamura. Okay? This dude is also the one behind Fantastic Children and Tree of Palm. And he worked on a Peter Pan adaptation, I believe. This dude is quite the auteur, and they don't mention him for shit. Don't give him anything. I find that really disrespectful. And then also, the way they describe Catnapped, and if you've even looked at the poster of Catnapped, or you read their own synopsis of Catnapped, very clearly, the world is supposed to be kind of nightmarish. And so, like, the whole hallucinogenic dispassionate precision, the candy-striped design and childish worldview seem almost calculatedly endearing. No, that doesn't sound like... I don't think it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be really surreal and weird, and not, like, endearing in the same way that you're thinking of it. It's not Cat Returns. You know what I mean? Which, like, I haven't read the review of that one yet. So it's a Nakamura joint. Yeah, exactly. They have no idea. They don't even mention it. What did I miss about the Tree of Palm guy? I love his work. So they're talking this review about Catnapped, Bob, the movie that he directed. He co-wrote it, has the designs, directed it. It's a Nakamura joint, as well as Fantastic Children, the same guy behind Fantastic Children. Their review for it, they say no amount of brainstorming and focus groups can make up for true magic, such as Miyazaki's My Neighbor Totoro, which Catnapped would very much like to be. If you've seen if you've read the synopsis, where in that do you think My Neighbor Totoro? What the fuck? Where is that coming from? What are you talking about? It's delusional. This review is ridiculous. They didn't get it. Oh my god, they didn't get it. Like, yeah. Why are we reading Mao reviews? I don't know, dude. I don't know. I love Shashinkan, which is the same guy. The Miyazaki comparison again. I know. You gotta love negatively compare everything to Miyazaki. Or Tezuka. Takashi Nakamura is also the animation director of a little-known movie, Akira. So, I'm gonna get to that. Hold on. Pretty much the Mao reviews of the book. No. There's this odd choice. I'll bring it up now so I don't have to go back to Catnapped afterwards. After they say this, My Neighbor Totoro, which Catnapped would very much like to be. What are you talking about? For its U.S. release, Pioneer preferred to play up the writer's connection to Akira and Armitage III. Again! Fucking Armitage III with these guys. They love this movie. They cannot shut up about this fucking movie, Armitage III. Oh my god. They preferred to play up the writer's connection to Akira and Armitage III, a sure sign that they doubted its standalone status within the children's cartoon market. That's not even... I don't even think that's true. I think it's real... Like, that's such an additional dig. Like, oh, a failure of this movie, fucking loser. Like, you had to try to sell this movie, you had to put Akira and Armitage III on for the writers. Like, yeah, okay, Nakamura is not a household name like fucking Miyazaki. But, like, that's what they do all the time. That's what, 80 Vision, Pioneer, Animego, your company that you worked with, Manga UK, did that all the time. That's just how you promote shit in such a niche product as anime. That's just what you do. I'm sorry. Like, that's supposed to be an indictment of its quality. Oh, look, they had to connect Akira and Armitage III. They doubted it. A sure sign that they doubted its standalone status with the children cartoon market. Okay, dude. Like, or lady, or ma'am, and or ma'am, whoever wrote this. I don't even know. That's some CPM level marketing. I know. They do it. Like, everybody did it. I don't think that's an indictment at all. Fucking, they're doing that now with Future Boy Conan. They're like the directorial debut of Miyazaki, which, like, is fair. It's completely fair to do. I don't think that's an indictment on Conan or any anime that they do that for at all. It's advertising. He came back to saying Binjo Time might be the most adorable anime I've ever seen. Oh, let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! That's so funny. That's awesome. This is like someone saying Joe sucks because it's not as hot-blooded as Ippo. Well. Well. I know certain people, including one former employee of Crunchyroll, who vastly prefer, and this is his opinion, he can have it, vastly prefers Hajime no Ippo to Joe, because Ippo's actually about boxing. And Joe's like, not really about boxing. It's you know, it's like, okay. Still a better show than Ippo, though. I'm sorry. just because you like boxing and therefore Ippo appeals to you better. I guess that's fair, and you can have that opinion, but like, okay. Also, why is he holding Nakamura accountable for what the licensing companies do? I don't know. They're just trying to find further reasons to dig this movie that they didn't like. I pre-ordered a Blu-ray copy of Conan. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, but not as much of a stretch as let's advertise this kid's movie by referring to his roles on some other more serious adult-oriented movies that people have heard of. Yeah, I don't know. It is a stretch. Like, I can't agree. I can't fault him for doing that, but at the same time, I get like people be like, "That's a weird choice." Does that friend hate Megalobox? Yes, especially because it's not realistic to real boxing. Okay. Go touch grass. No, I'm sorry. That's rude. Anyway, let's see. Anyway, they hated Catnapped. Moving on. I also prefer Ippo to Joe, but don't hurt me. I like Joe a lot too. At least you like Joe. It's okay if you prefer Ippo, though. I guess it's like a longer story. Wait. Hey, Greg. When's he gonna fight Miata again? Teehee. I'm sorry, it's mean, maybe. Yeah, where's more of that? I don't know. It's still going. Hope it finishes. Chocolate Panic Picture Show. Fair. I don't fault them for hating this one. It's jaw-droppingly racist, grossly caricatured such and such. When they describe it, it's like, yeah, that does seem racist. Fair. It's okay. Everyone has different tastes. Yeah, it's fine. Circuit Angel. You're also talking to the guy who's like, that's my favorite anime, period. So, like, any dig on it, you know. Circuit Angel. Negative. Little can disguise this show's true nature as a ripoff of Shonan Bakusoku. And again with the ripoffs and the superior this, that, and the other thing. Media poisoned. Especially No Bad is fantastic. I agree. Clan of the Kawarizaki. Although it's funny, I do have No Bad listed as a good, but the original Megalobox is a great. I don't know why. I do agree. It's very interesting and dark and cool. It's just it didn't tickle me. It didn't tickle my my Joe reference bone as much as the first one did. Otherwise unremarkable is what they call Clan of the Coward. Yeah, sure. And then foolhardily anachronisms in Cleopatra. I figured it was negative. I didn't really try to insinuate it as being mixed. Mixed. So I gave it California Crisis seems to be mixed. Arbitrary plot less important than the long lingering tour of California beaches, which is not quite right. Like there's some shots of the beaches in the OP, like the opening scenes or whatever, but like not really in the movie. Like the way they describe that, right? Arbitrary plot is less important than the long lingering tour of California beaches. It makes it seem that they do less with the plot and more with the scenery, and that's not entirely true. At least with California Crisis to me. I heard some people say Chocolate Panic is actually a satire. Maybe. Probably. I haven't seen it myself. I probably should. But I imagine there is more to it than that. It came out in the 80s, you know, way after the minstrel stuff and when the times were more racist and stuff. I do think there's got to be something more to it. They also, I'll bring it up. I'll bring up Chocolate Panic later in one of the odd choices, which I think is kind of strange. Clamp School Detectives, harmless, aimed at a female audience that was expecting to be charmed by polite, well-mannered rich boys solving minor problems. Yes, they would. Yeah, they're expected to, and I imagine that's the appeal. Like that's plenty of, like pretty boy anime. Like that's expected to be charmed by polite, well-mannered rich boys. So yeah, that sounds like a great time. The boys are hot. Like who cares? You know, I think they nailed it, but I don't think they nailed it. You know, it's like, well, they expect us to be charmed by this. Like, yeah, that is the appeal. I don't know, it's just funny, but they do say it's harmless. So okay. Classmate, surprisingly old-fashioned cream lemon clone. I don't know. That seemed like to me. That came off as more like, oh, that's novel, instead of like, ugh, come on. Because I don't know how much they really like cream lemon. I guess we'll find out later. It's in the C section, of course. C section. Climbing on a cloud. Very different tale of gang warfare. Very different tale. I don't know if that really swings one way or the other, so I put it as mixed, but it is an opinion. It's a very different tale, or maybe that's I don't know. Maybe not. Bring on the hot boys. That's an accurate summary. I expect it to be accurate, but it's just like, yes, that is the appeal. Although there's some questionable age gap stuff because clamp is clamping. Yep. I wouldn't expect anything less. For context, Japan has no knowledge of minstrel crap and seem to be more influenced by old cartoons than racist intent. I mean, maybe. I do think there needs to be more to Chocolate Panic if it was storyboarded by Kaneda. You know, it seems kind of psychedelic and interesting, but I haven't seen it yet. I am interested though. Chancer Princess is another changed opinion, at least my perspective. So I didn't I saved this for now, for before when I skipped this earlier. The show is an improvement on the manga, mostly by bringing in other minor clamp properties like Doki. Oh, cool. So let me find Chancer Princess in the first edition, because I have to read both versions because they are different. Okay, let me first find Detakoto. It's in D. Yeah, Detakoto Princess. Okay. It's almost entirely different, the two articles. Let me read the first edition. Transported by a magic mirror to a distant fantasy world, Princess Lapis tries hard to impress the people. Let me pull up the image for this too. I've been meaning to do that. Sorry that it's been mostly the notes for so long. Let me see. Toko? Yeah, Toko Princess. This one right here. Cute. I like that cover. Okay. Let me read the synopsis to this.
Transported by a magic mirror to a distant fantasy world, Princess Lapis tries hard to impress the people of Saucerland with her nascent powers, fighting Topaz, the fearsome North Witch, who is invariably late for any occasion. And then they kind of go into some backstory and their opinion. But this is the revised synopsis. Princess Lapis is a spunky blonde noble in the magic realm of Sorcererland, not Saucerland, eternally competing with her rival Topaz. Rival? Didn't say that in the original. With Topaz, the Witch of the North. They call Topaz the fearsome North Witch, who is invariably late for any occasion. Said it's the rival Topaz, the Witch of the North. Lapis has just one talent. This is completely new. Has one talent, although it is a devastating one: the ability to cancel out magic, making her incredibly dangerous in a world that relies on sorcery for building, energy, and the smooth running of society. Her exasperated mother, Sapphire, decides to send her away on a camping trip for a couple of days, but unwittingly aims her magical mirror of transportation at the wrong location, teleporting Lapis to the far side of the world. So that's completely different to the synopsis: transported by a magic mirror to a distant fantasy world, as if this is an isekai, which it's not. So that's a very different synopsis. With only a random assortment, Lapis is then obligated to travel back home, with only a random assortment of companions to help her, including the comedically invulnerable Kohaku, the diminutive plant pixie Nandora, and her irritable old tutor. The journey is complicated by Lapis's addiction to pudding, of which she needs a large helping of on a daily basis. So that's a much better synopsis. That's full, that you get it, you know what I mean? And also just I don't know how accurate it is, because I haven't seen this show or anything, but like that seems a lot more realized and seems accurate, you know? Clamp School looks so hot. Been wanting to watch it since I saw Bashon and Tante. I could watch them. That'd be interesting if I watched them together, actually. If you dug that show, you'd like Clamp School Detectives. Much less ironic. Yeah. So let me read their second paragraph of this, which is much more interesting in my opinion. The first edition says, former Tenchi Muyo manga artist Hitoshi Okuda created this Jello mold successor, seemingly in an attempt to secure his own franchise after drawing someone else's for so long. So that doesn't change between the first and third edition. Here's something different. The first edition says, the preceding Chancer Princess radio drama featured a gimmick in which Lapis would sing her spells, but was inexplicably replaced in the animated version by a magic wand that simply transforms her into a quote-unquote cute version of herself. Why not just watch Dragon Half again? What? Jeez! Just completely dismiss, like, why not just watch Dragon Half again? Like, come on, man. Again, the media poison shit. You know, it's just like, oh, I've seen this before. You know, it's like, why do you gotta be complaining about that? Who cares? I don't know. Here's the third edition. So that is pretty much completely cut. It is completely different. It unravels the tradition of other comic fantasies like Dragon Half and Slayers, setting up a derivative quest narrative and hoping to occlude its shortcomings behind a smokescreen of knowing irony. The preceding radio drama featured a gimmick in which Lapis would sing her spells, although that is not repeated here. So they say it's not repeated here instead of, like, inexplicably replaced in the animated version by a magic wand that simply transforms her into a cute version of herself. But then, of course, like, why not just watch Dragon Half again? Is completely cut. Very interesting. It feels like another right-wing Pokemon moment for the encyclopedia for me. But even more kind of like compounding on that is just they changed the placement. The first edition calls it Chancer Princess, and this calls it Detotoko Princess. And just the complete difference in synopsis. You know what I mean? It was like they didn't watch this first one, and they just kind of read the synopsis briefly, and they kind of like assumed. and then they're like, oh, it seems like Dragon Half. Why not just watch Dragon Half again? That is what it comes off as to me. And maybe I'm incorrect about that. But the fact that they do change this, I wouldn't have batted an eye otherwise, honestly. I would have maybe been like, oh, Dragon Half. I would have just like kind of rolled my eyes and moved on. But the fact that they kind of changed their tune here is interesting. It does make it seem like they actually watched it. To me, at least. At the very least, the fact that they give it a much more detailed synopsis makes it seem that they cared a little bit more. But it's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be that negative about it. At least that's my perception. So that's a new changed opinion. Very interesting when I find these. Very interesting. That one especially. Because Boogie Pop, I get it. That one hadn't quite come out yet by the time the first edition came out. And then they actually went and watched it, I think. All right, so I have started to do a little bit more with this, although I still have to really figure this out and tweak it of what is really considered a quote-unquote short article. And I've realized, I think it's just when I read an article and I'm like, wow, that's it? Or that's short? You know, if I don't feel like it was, personally, if I don't feel like it was substantive enough, I'm just like, that's it? That's all you have on this? And it makes me question, like, is it even, why would you have it in here at all if this is all you're going to put in it? If this is all you're going to say about it, right? So some of I do have to go over this again because there's some that are as long as some other ones or short, you know. I have to find what's really considered short. Like one sentence, like actually short. I have to kind of really boil it down, I think. Figure it out. And the long ones is the same situation. I have to kind of really gauge what's really long and what's not, or what's kind of out of necessity long, or what's kind of overly long, you know what I mean? I should put Captain Harlock on this one, though, because, oh my gosh, that one's a very long one. I didn't look too close for this particular... This is sort of a work in progress still. I still have to kind of feel this out, I think. And again, also figure out, like, what would I be trying to say? What am I documenting that for? I don't know. I think the point I would be trying to document is the fact that it's like, is the difference of priorities to illustrate, like, they put this much effort into these titles and nothing into these titles. You know what I mean? But then, you know, I don't know how, like, yeah, of course, there's just some random ass OVA and no one's heard of or whatever. I don't know. Like, versus Akira or Astro Boy, like, of course they're going to talk a lot about that. I don't know. New spoilers. California Crisis. They ends on a cliffhanger, they say, which I'm a little like, is it really a cliffhanger? Is it really a spoiler? I don't know. I'm a little meh about that. I don't know 100% if this is a spoiler or if it's something that happens, if it's like part of the premise, right? Like, just because a character dies doesn't mean it's a spoiler. It's just like a, you know, depends on when is it placed, right? Like Goldie Roger dying is not a spoiler in One Piece. It's the premise. Candy. Too much synopsis, in my opinion. They really do just kind of let out a lot of different plot points. They don't spoil the end of it, I guess. But there's a lot that is like, yeah, this happens and this happens. And I'm like, I would have loved to just experience that for myself. That's annoying. Captain Harlock, they do spoil the end of the first TV series. I'm like, oh, and in the finale, he does this or whatever. Lapida, they do just recount the entire plot. They give away Muska's backstory. They give away, they say everything. They give the whole thing as if you don't even need to watch it. Catnapped again recounts the entire plot start to finish, which is, you know, maybe it's a little predictable, but yeah, still, I don't know why you would do that. Spoils the manga ending for Cat's Eye, because they say that the anime doesn't end this way, like kind of ends in its own way or whatever, but the manga ends this way. I'm like, okay, thanks, I guess. Cinderella, I mean, yes, they spoil, like they give away with the last three endings. It ends the same way it's Cinderella, like no shit, but whatever. Thought it was funny. Cleopatra DC, they say final episode features blah blah blah, and then they give away the ending for Cleopatra, which I did read out loud, which is like kind of a given. Like I get it, like she, I don't know, she's a historical figure, but whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna move on to some odd choices, and I have about a half hour left before I hit the 2 hour mark, so that's pretty good. Got some good. Before I get to odd ones, let's do some good ones. Candy Candy. I read this out earlier. The parallels to Athena and the whole thing about the copywriting thing, but that was really good. That makes even less sense. I know. I don't know. I don't know. Titles I'm now interested in. I wanted to look these up on Mao because I have not seen the images for these yet. Let's look these up. This will be interesting. First is Carol. Yeah, it's this OVA. And it was interesting. I don't know. They said how like successful it was. It was like the most profitable OVA in the 90s for that year. Let me see. Oh, no. It was just the description was interesting. Because it was like, notices music disappearing from the world, and she's in an alternate dimension. She joins forces with some band members to prevent the Earth, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It looked fun. Look at that art. That's pretty cool. A day in a girl's life. An hour. I don't know. I just really I dug that. I thought that was interesting. Not very good reviews, but oh well. Not like they review it positively or negatively. They don't really give it a review. But their description made it sound interesting. Ceres. I just wanted to see the visual for this. Even though it seems like I actually know Ceres, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that looked interesting. Very very cool. Nice. Looks pretty cool. I wouldn't look twice at it in some other cases, I guess, but in the context of having to like really think of then look at it, I don't know. Cool. Champion of Gordian. Let's see. Champion of Gordian. I shouldn't just do that. Of Gordian. Is that it? No, it's not. Well, this isn't helping. Oh, this is it. Yeah, Toshi Gordian. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Shoji Kawamori's involved with it. Pretty epic. Yeah, I don't know. This looked kind of neat. I dug it. Chicken Takun. I kind of want to read the synopsis to this one. Out loud. Wait. Chicken. Chick. And cat. Takun. There it is. Oh, yeah. I feel like I may have seen this around. But let me, like... the actual, like, if you read it without seeing a visual, it's just like, what the fuck? Chicken. The Walchen Dictionary, a computer packed with evil ideas from planet R, falls into the hands of Dr. Bell, who plans to use it to rule the world. Prince Chicken enlists the help of his alien friends to get the dictionary back, and lands his flying saucer on the roof of the Minamita family's house in Japan. Miko Minamita and her 4 friends offer to help Chicken. This anime was adapted from Ishinomori's manga, run from the educational magazine Science for grades 1 through 6. I don't know, it just like looked fun. And weird as fuck. That's cool. That looks great. I don't know. Nice. Let me get the chat. Can you really spoil history? Yeah, I don't know. yeah. I don't know. I figure you give away the end of it. You know what I mean? You know, that's just it. Yeah, she's going to die. But how? The fact that she's defeated by the homosexual Octave, whatever his name is. It's like, okay. I don't know. I thought that was a spoiler, maybe. Or like, yeah, well, like, you know how like people are like watching Heike Monogatari right now? Like that's part of like an ancient, that's part of an ancient tale that people can just read the end of it right now, but like no one wants to because we don't want to be spoiled to it. You know, we don't want spoilers. What the heck is this? Chirorin. I just wrote down once when I read the synopsis, like I have never heard of this. I thought that was interesting. Yeah. Why do I always pick the ones that like look very babyish and like no one's heard of course. Cool. Nutsberry Town. Oh yeah. No. Okay. So apparently this is based on a puppet show from the 50s, and then they brought this TV show back, and it's only 10-minute episodes for 170 episodes, and it's sort of like a nostalgia thing for parents who grew up on that back then, like the puppet show. So that's kind of neat. Honestly, I like the designs of that. Kind of cool. Climbing on a cloud. Cloud. Hayama no Suzume, of course. Come on. Oh, I'm not getting it. It's an older one. Come on. No. Maybe I have to get the God damn it. Kumo ni Noru. Kumo ni no. There it is. Jeez Louise. Okay. Not what I was picturing. In a Buddhist heaven where saints fight. Oh, it's from the Encyclopedia. Yeah, look at that. In a Buddhist heaven where saints fight over turf in the clouds, Niyomaru searches for the younger sister torn from him in an aircraft ancient back to the human world. Goodfella creator Hiroshi Motomiya wrote this very different tale of gang warfare set in a Buddhist heaven, and I'm just like, this setting sounds cool, dude. But this is other one that I forgot to write down. 1970. Yeah, Chopo. Or it's Choppy, I think. Or Copy. Ugh, it's not gonna work. Okay, here it is. Itazura 10. Cheapo. Oh, okay. I am never gonna find that. Just some kind of whatever. That sounded kind of interesting, though. Ishiguro did some episodes on that. Cool. All right. Anyway, moving on. No way I'm fighting that shit. Anyway, back to the spicy stuff. Odd choices. Yeah. Call of the Wild. They have this moment where they're saying that it eschews the talking animals one might expect for a cartoon audience, and like I get there is novelty in that, and the animals don't talk. I like that too, but like to word it this way, one might expect for a cartoon audience. Isn't Homeward Bound like this too? Isn't there plenty of media with like books? You know, there's plenty of fictional media of talking animals. It's not just like a cartoon thing, you know? And also, it also just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, where it's like, so then if the animals did talk, would that make it less interesting? Because I just finished watching Ginga Nagaraboshi Gin, where it got more interesting the moment the animals started talking. Like there's six or seven episodes where the animals don't talk, and it was fine. It was good. I kind of liked it. It was all right. And then they started talking, and it immediately got more interesting. Because then they were like having their own agency, and they were creating their own society. It was literally like the fucking moment of Bleach, between the episodic Ghost Adventures being in the real world and then going to the Soul Society. It was that stark of a difference for me, and it was immediately better. So I just thought that was a kind of a weird dig on cartoons and that kind of contempt, right, that I'm talking about. Animal House, my favorite cartoon. Yeah. Captain Harlock. Oh yeah, okay, let me read this. What did they mean by this? Can anyone tell me? They do this all the time, and then I'm like, what do you mean? And there's no explanation. Leaves, right? Okay. I have to give some context. Here's the full thing. Lefresia, for example, should really be Rafflesia, the queen of the planet plant people named after the world's largest flower, while Maytel, the surrogate mother of the Galaxy Express, takes her name from the Latin mater. Such transpositions of letters, however, are common in anime, not just from translators ignorant of the sources, but also from those who are all too cognizant but wish to tone down certain creators' embarrassing English puns and in-jokes. See Gundam. What? See Gundam? What does Gundam have to do with that? They wish to Also from those who are all too cognizant but wish to tone down certain creators' embarrassing English puns and in-jokes. Like Gundam. What do you mean? Where? Am I not seeing it right away? Am I not much of a Gundam fan to really pick up on that? What are they talking about? I don't know. Weird. I just thought it was strange. Captain Tsubasa, much like his tennis counterpart, aim for the ace. Listen, I don't want to split hairs here, but in your description of Captain Tsubasa, it says, Tsubasa Ozora has literally been playing soccer since he was a baby. Moving to a new town, he immediately joins the junior team, which has former Brazilian international player Roberto Honma as a coach. And then you say, much like his tennis counterpart at Aim for the A's, Tsubasa progresses through the various levels of his chosen sport until he and his friends face the best in the world. Are they talking about how Gundam names have puns? Are they talking about that weird English dub that is like 4 random episodes? I don't know. Too many names how all his characters puns. I don't know if his characters are all puns exactly. They're all odd. They're all kind of like weird names, but like puns. I don't know. But like the way you describe the Captain Tsubasa having literally playing soccer since he was a baby, I think is a lot different. And also the fact that he's like a prodigy, right? Like he's actually like a good player from the beginning. I haven't seen Tsubasa myself, but I remember having hints of the first episode and seeing some videos on it. Sports anime all the same, guys. Right. Whereas Aim for the Ace is very deliberately about a beginner who, like, the only reason she's playing tennis is so she can be in the same club as this girl that she looks up to. And then she can hang out with her friend. And then she can, like, be next to the hot guy that she wants to be her boyfriend. You know? Like, she's just kind of doing it for superficial reasons. And then the coach chooses her for varsity because he sees something that she actually really tries, and she has this energy to her that he really thinks can be fostered and made into a formidable force. That's completely different. That is entirely different. I don't agree with that. I don't feel like you've seen Aim for the Ace or understand it when you word it like that. You know? Captain Sakura. There's 2 weird things here. There's a little weird nitpicks. Other problems besieging Sakura include her best friend Tomoyo. Problems? Tomoyo? The girl who, they say, a rich girl who insists on designing new costumes for her and taping her missions. Excuse me. Other problems? What are you talking about? Problems? It contradicts her own thing. Include her best friend Tomoyo. They're friends. And that's a problem that they dress her in new costumes, even though Sakura doesn't wholly, is like, oh, come on, why do I, she kind of begrudgingly does it, but like, it's a problem? I don't know. It's a weird word for it. A lot of character names are double entendres or references. Sure, that's not the same as what they said here. Embarrassing English puns and in-jokes. I don't know what they're talking about when they say that. Yeah, they're weird, and they might have some other further meaning to it, but that's different. And then they also say Nadeshko, because it's like the name of her mom. An occasion doubly dear to her since Nadeshko, C. Nadesco, is also the name of her late mother. This doesn't ever happen in there. It's like in much of other places. Why? Why are you just like, oh, that character's name is Nadeshko. See, this other show that has the word Nadesh, it's called Nadeshko. What does that have to do with anything? What are you gonna put Eurocamp? Like you have like an entry for Eurocamp as like a main character Nadeshko. See Nadeshko. Like, huh? I don't get it. What are you talking about? Oh well, this is strange to me, I think. Cagliostro. So Cagliostro is its own entry in the first and third edition, instead of being included in the Lupin entry. Like, they probably mention Cagliostro, but like part of their categorization and organizing in this encyclopedia is about about like, if you're gonna take Gundam, you're gonna put all of Gundam into one entry, right? If you're gonna have all the, you're not gonna list multiple entry of the thing. But like Cagliostro stands on its own. Why? Is it because it was directed by Miyazaki? Is that why? Or is it that like they really wanted to talk more about this movie, which they do? They give a whole review of it. They have a whole thing, which would bloat the Lupin one, which is already kind of long. Is that why? Ugh, I don't know. It's a weird double standard for me. They're making reference to the term Yamato Nadeshko, because that's what the Nadeshko series is a pun on. No, they aren't. Well, maybe. I don't know if does Yamato Nadeshko have to do with the Nadeshko festival? They say, this is the full paragraph. A second movie, The Sealed Card, followed in 2000, in which someone begins to steal Sakura's cards as she prepares to celebrate the Nadeshko festival, an occasion doubly dear to her since Nadeshko, see Nadeshko, is also the name of her late mother. Like, maybe that's what it is. If that's accurate, then fine, but it's just like, as a layman that read that was just confusing to me. Maybe I do have to actually see Nadeshko first. Maybe they actually give the full context there. What if they have separate entries for every Lupin episode Miyazaki directed? I don't know. That'd be funny. I doubt it, though. But yeah, like what? It's its own entry? And then there's some weird little quotes that they have here that I'm just like, yeah? What? Let me see. It's Lupin and his gang against the world. What? What? Do you mean the way that there's like the United Nations in one scene? But it's not really Lupin against the world in that case. It's still really just Lupin against Cagliostro. I don't know. It just seemed like a weird platitude, like a descriptor, like making it sound cool when it's not really accurate, to me at least. A courageous. So okay, they list. Of course they do. Castle of Cagliostro. Let me read the whole thing. Miyazaki would reuse many of the ideas later in his career, including the Mediterranean Riviera setting of Porco Rosso, a courageous nature-loving princess in Nausicaa, a friendly hound? I didn't even fully read that. A friendly hound in Kiki's Delivery Service. I don't know if I was more confused. Oh, I was like, first of all, what friendly hound in Kiki's Delivery? I don't remember. Maybe there is. Yeah. Maybe like it's been a long time since I've seen Kiki's. It's not a movie I'm intimately familiar with, but then I was blanking even harder of like, what friendly hound in Cagliostro? I'm like, oh, Carl in the third act, who shows up in like that one scene. Oh. Okay. And the mossy ruins and Castle in the Sky. The film also lifted an idea from Miyazaki's work on Treasure Island. Animal Treasure Island. The fabled Cagliostro treasure is hidden at the bottom of an artificial lake. So, the thing I highlighted was a courageous, loving princess in Nausicaa. I don't doubt that she's a nature-loving princess, Nausicaa, but like, where's the nature-loving princess in Cagliostro? Are you referring to Clarice, who is, I strain to say courageous, honestly. I very much strain to say courageous for her. I love Clarice. I love her. That's not what I picture for her. Not in the degree of, she's not Nausicaa. Nature-loving? I can't even begin to understand where you got that from. First of all, not even on the same scale as Nausicaa. Second, where? Where is she nature-loving? What? When? How? Who? I don't... Where are you getting that from? But also, like, do they... I'm just gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna read the Lupin entry a little bit. I'm just gonna skim it. I need to see if they even know that, like, Nausicaa is also based on a character from Lupin, but it's not Cagliostro. It's the part 2 episode that he did in 155. She's literally Nausicaa, like the blue military outfit and the orange short hair, and was voiced by the same actress as Nausicaa. It is actually dead ass Nausicaa in the Lupin episode, but like they're saying it's from Cagliostro. No. Sorry. Thing is, I don't think Nadeshko is from Cardtactor Doctor is really a Yamato Nadeshko character. Hell, the dog is a fairly minor part of Cagliostro. Yeah, I saw the account. It was pretty good. It's fantastic, which wasn't so formulaic, but still great fun. They're really stretching the influence that Lupin had on Miyazaki. That show had a lot of production issues, that's why it got formulaic. I guess she's nature-loving because they meet her in a garden? Yeah, I guess. The dog in Kiki is named Jeff. The boy is from the same house hold as Carl or something. Okay, cool. And like the fact that they say, "Oh, this movie, he would reuse a lot of it later on," but they don't mention that like the clock tower thing is something from part 1. Like they say, it's like from the opening casino heist to the Chaplin-esque duel inside a giant clock. Like, that shit is from part 1. He actually takes a lot, and he says that. He actually has a quote where he's like, I'm just kind of stealing everything from part 1. But, like, they don't reference 155? Let me find Lupin. Let me just skim it. I'm positive they mention it. Oh my god, the Lupin entry might be the biggest fucking one they do. Probably because there's so much, localization history. No, they definitely do. Yes, they do, right here. Were episodes 145 and 155 written and directed by Tsutomu Teruki, pseudonym for Hayao Miyazaki. Fan favorites were episode 145 and 155. In the wake of Miyazaki's later popularity with foreign anime fans, the episodes were released in the US as Albatross and Aloha Lupin. I don't know why it was called Aloha Lupin, because that's not 155. That's a different Lupin episode by Telecom. Aloha Lupin? That's a different episode. I'm trying to scan. They're talking about the fucking LeBlanc and you know... It's because he calls him Wolf or Rupon and blah blah blah. They do this a lot. And then they go into Mamo. They describe Mamo a lot. Yeah. No, they don't talk about I don't think they even realize that 155 of Lupin has the fucking Laputa robot ripped verbatim. It's the Laputa robot in Lupin Part 2 from 1979 when that episode came out. Or like, yeah, 79 or 80. Like dead ass. Message redacted. Sorry, I couldn't see it. Yeah, I don't get it. Anyway, weird entry. Just the fact that it's listed on its own anyway. It's weird too. Anyway, tell Mr. Wolf that Duncan lives at. Telecon mixed up the order with Lupin. They did a similar thing with Conan for the U.S. release. I remember episode 3 of part 2 for Lupin. They moved up to episode. I should probably have the chat in this window that has notes. I'm sorry, but Roger is saying that they did a similar thing with Conan for the U.S. Or I could just look at the YouTube. I think YouTube saves the chat anyway. They did a similar thing with Conan for the U.S. release. I remember it's episode 3 of part 2 for Lupin. They moved to episode 26 because of the Nazi imagery. Yeah, I mean, fair. I can believe it. Kakro Nuku Nuku. There's this weird line. There's no context for it. I don't even want to go back. There's no context for this. With the massive collateral damage of Project ACO, where are you getting that from? What are you talking about? What does that mean? I don't even know what that's supposed to insinuate. Is it a negative insinuation? A positive? Like, what? Odd choice. What do you mean? From what I know, the Lapida robot is based on the robot from the old fleshless Superman cartoon. Yeah, probably. But like the same face and everything, you know, how similar in design is it? But like I can imagine it's based on that because of like I remember hearing of like the Superman Fleischer cartoon. There's a big robot that slowly enters in and steals like jewelry or whatever in the Fleischer cartoon. I think I remember seeing that, and then that happens in 155 where the robot steals a bunch of jewels. But it's a different design, I think. Whereas like Lapida, it's the same robot. It's because Adult Swim didn't want to air it at the time. They were only on the air for about a year when Lupin aired to avoid controversy. Fair, decent play, honestly. It's a lot like Giant God Warrior in Tokyo with how they're both basically Nausicaa and modern Tokyo. Yeah. Okay, so that was a weird choice though with massive collateral damage of Project ACO. Like, okay. Catnapped. Again, I talked about this. Pioneer preferred to like, weird dig. What is it? I don't remember the internet slang for that. Yeah, it's weird though because I think there was another Nazi episode of Lupin that they did air. No, I don't remember what episode that was. Yeah. Chalk-colored people. It's the chalk-colored people is the Heart Cocktail. The Heart Cocktail guy. They just have this line, set to bossa nova music for reasons unknown. For reasons unknown? Because it's bossa nova music, because they fucking want to. What are you gonna question? But you can have that for anything. Like, this was in 3D animation for reasons unknown. Like, you know? Like, I don't know. Like, what kind of wording is that? Let me read the whole thing for you. It's short, so you can be like, you're taking that out of context. 5 short episodes from Heart Cocktail creator Seizo Watase's romantic manga set to bossa nova music for reasons unknown. Of course, it's bossa nova. Like, what's weird about that? Am I not familiar with bossa nova music and it being connected to romantic something? Like, why is that weird? The stories include Building Without Tide, Brother and Sister, Sometimes I'm Happy, I've Saved the Sidecar for You, and The Santa Quartet. The music is from Latin lounge legend Astrud Gilberto. A similar music/anime combination was tried the previous year with Watase's My All Day All Color, and later with Two on the Road. Yeah, like, what's weird about that? No, it was from a 2003 airing. It might have been the Mandela Effect. This is also why I don't air the FMA movies for years. Oh yeah, probably. Otakochiku. As one might expect from the team who made Fist of the North Star. I've already checked. It's not the same team. It was the same character designer, and they're both by Studio Toei. That's about it. Different directors, different manga authors, different artists. Like, yeah, they're very similar. They're both very manly, but But it would be like saying JoJo is like the same team who made fucking Fist of the North. Like, also it's just because it's Studio Toei. They're both Studio Toei. Look, I don't know, the studios as people narrative. It's like, yeah, it's the same studio, but it's not the same people. It's not really the same people, man. I don't believe that personally. It's the same studio, but that doesn't mean like, oh, Precure by the same people who made Fist of the North Star. By the same people who made Dragon Ball. Like, I just feel like it's two different things you're talking about. By the same studio who made Fist. And also, the fact when you say one might expect from the team who made Fist of the North Star, the way that you word this, if you know about Fist of the North Star, Fist of the North Star is a manga duo with Bronson and Hara. So when you say the team who made Fist of the North Star, it makes me think the two guys who wrote the manga for Fist of the North Star also did Sakigake Otokojiku, which is untrue. Right? It's very weird choices. It might be nitpicking, but whatever. I found it strange. Chibi Maruko-chan. If I read this to you, I just want to read this. It's a short it's very short, actually. Considering, like, Maruko-chan is kind of a bigger property, right? Maruko is a 9-year-old schoolgirl who spends most of her time daydreaming, particularly that she is a noble princess. Her parents are divorced, or both. Inexplicably talking like an old woman, despite her tender years, she continually pesters her parents, elder sister, and relatives to answer questions, and quote-unquote amusing misunderstandings ensue. Momoko Sakura's 1986 manga, loaded with 1970s nostalgia, was christened a quote-unquote new Sazai-san by some Japanese critics for its gentle humanity and interminable run. I just found that weirdly condescending, There's just something about that. It's like, she talks like an old lady, or all about her just daydreaming, and I don't know, the wording of this is strange to me, and also they list this in there, like, with like TV this many episodes, movie this many. They don't mention the Chibi Maruko-chan movie. There is a movie, and it has fucking Yuasa attached to it. I've watched it. It's all right, and some people love it. But like, it was just weird that they didn't. Yeah, my favorite song is so good. Yeah, they don't mention the movie whatsoever. They don't even say it. Like, they say it like in the little. If you read their blurb about what year it came out and the Japanese name and the director, like that little beginning blurb, they have it listed there, but they don't have that listed at all in their actual writing of it. And then in the 3rd edition, they revise it. And then they just add the live-action miniseries and the live-action thing and the miniseries. There's no attachment to the movie at all. Hey, Fetchy Catcher, one of these live. Good to see you, Alice. Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't get it. I don't get it. Weird. Chocolate Panic Picture Show. Right. So I knew about this OVA because it was attached to Gainax. And they don't list Gainax in the Encyclopedia attached to Chocolate Panic Picture Show. They don't even, and also obviously they don't mention, they only mention director, script, design, animation, music, production. So of course there's no storyboard credit for Kaneda, which is kind of huge. It was kind of like, ooh, that makes it interesting, for one thing. But like, I get they can't focus on everything about the fucking anime, about anime in general. But production they have listed as CBS, Taurus, and Film Link for production. Nothing else. No animation. That's it. Those 3. And if you, not primarily by Gainax. Yeah, so I was going to get to that. I'm confused. Who made it? If it wasn't Gainax, what's the studio that made it? I'm just gonna pull this. Up. Ugh. I just want to pull this. It's kind of weird. Sorry. Hold on. There we go. Chocolate Panic Picture Show. So when you click on the digital, when you have the 3rd edition, you can click on titles and it gives you hyperlinks to different anime. Sometimes it brings you to ANN. Sometimes it brings you to Wikipedia. It never brings you to Mal. But Chocolate Panic Picture Show brings you here. Animation by Gynax. You Control C or Control F. CBS, not there. Taurus, not there. Filmlink, not there. There is this production Gynax is an error. Tezuka Pro animated this. Okay. They are correctly credited for production cooperation. So it was Tezuka Pro. That's not CBS, it's not Taurus, it's not Filmlink. Okay. It was Tezuka Pro. Gynax isn't in any way at all credited for the production of this OVA. It's not. They're credited as animator, the Katakana credit, alongside a few other companies, which represents that they did either Genga or Goat. So similar to saying Dasaki's the animation director of Frosty the Snowman. It's not true. He had very limited capacity in it. Otherwise, not production with the it's the same thing. I get that. That's fair. I don't know why this isn't then. I don't know why that's not edited in that case. Production cooperation, but they're the main studio. I don't know how you fudge that up. It's kind of weird in my opinion. I feel like that was less to do with the Encyclopedia and more to do with general stuff, I guess. I wish I could get a copy of my favorite song. I don't think it's ever had a physical release, even in Japan, just several broadcastings. Wow. I didn't even know that. Just found the episode you meant, but that one didn't feature any Nazi imagery, unlike the skip one. Probably why the Ed Network didn't care as much. Khan is the best part of this OVA. Oh, that makes sense. Glad I didn't completely misremember. James Gynax had barely anything to do with this? Yeah. Apparently. Which is fair. Kind of the story. Like, you look at the... Not even a director credited on this. They have a director. Wait a minute. The Anime Encyclopedia credits Kazuyoshi Hirose as the director. He's not listed here at all. I don't see him. What? That's so weird. What is this? What are the credits just not present on the fucking thing? In the OVA? What? I don't get why this is so weird. Like, credit right. Like, so the hard to read kanji or something? Like, that's so weird. Anyway, strange. Christmas in January. I'm over 2 hours. Yep. Christmas in January. They say as a love triangle straight out of Video Girl Eye or Kimigure. Oh, so just because it has a love triangle, that automatically makes it like Video Girl Eye. I could say that same thing about fucking Macros. Oh, Christmas in January. It's just like Macros because there's a love triangle, which is common in so much media. It's a very standard, prevalent trope. The love triangle. Like, are they the same thing? When I read Christmas in January, a love triangle straight... Like, let me read this love triangle. Nobumasa is a boy who works part-time at a shoe store, where he meets Mizuki, a girl whose abusive family life has left her unable to trust other people. Meanwhile, Nobumasa is unaware that another girl, Seiko, has a crush on him, but is unable to express her feelings. So, that's just like Video Girl Eye, huh? That's just... Is it like Kimigure Orange Road? Maybe kind of like Kimigure. I mean, I haven't seen Kimigure yet, but I've seen videos about it, and I've had just thinking about Madoka as like, maybe she doesn't trust... Maybe there's something there where she doesn't trust people, and then the other girl is... I do believe the other girl is just generally likes the guy and is shy to confess and everything. So it's the same kind of in that if that's even true for Kimaguri. I haven't seen Kimaguri. The Video Girl I don't even remember a love triangle, to be honest with you. I don't even it didn't, maybe it didn't register to me as a love triangle. Because I just felt that, like, it was a different relationship. I don't know. I remember watching Christmas in January. I liked it. I saw it too. I didn't, it didn't grab me. It didn't really, It's pretty somber. It's nothing like that. They just mean it's nothing like, they just mean that it's like it because it's a love triangle straight out of those two shows. I don't remember that being the case, or I don't think that's the case. It was a weird. Again, they're just trying to shoehorn they're trying to find ways for people to connect to other anime, but then they're just going to connect the same ones. Like, they have Video Girl I listed a number of times here in the encyclopedia. City Hunter. I just thought it was similar to Blackjack, where they describe each OVA, like the synopsis of each episode. Like, they're just weirdly detailing each special, what happens in each special. It's like, why pad it out like that? Like, give me different information, or just keep it brief so that you can give room for other entries or something. It just seems like a waste. I don't understand. It was also just like random TV specials. It's like, why describe it like this? I don't know. It was just strange to me personally. And then Clan of Pioro. Chances were destroyed by Akira. Fantasy anime fell out of favor. I'm like, oh yeah? Cool. I did weird. Again, it's another thing where they're attributing the failure of this thing to another piece of media that had come out or whatever. And it's like, that feels like conjecture to me. Yeah. Kaori Himeki's fantasy manga from Princess Magazine was originally going to be adapted into a video series, but its chances were destroyed when Akira was released barely a week later. Fantasy anime fell out of favor, and this abortive first episode never got further than its theatrical double bill with the digest edition of Aim for the Ace 2. Which is interesting. I actually never knew it had I never knew Ace 2 had a digest version. A few years later, the likes of Poltergeist Report, which I'm pretty sure is Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm gonna put Poltergeist Report. Okay. A few years later, the likes of Poltergeist Report made Clan of Prioro more appealing, but it was too late. Oh. Wait a minute. Only 3 years later. Wow. Like, come on. It's not even like a decade later. It's literally Clan of Piorio came out in 1988, and then Yu Yu Hakusho comes out in 91. That's whatever, man. like swing and a miss. Like, okay. Madoka Ayukawa is fantastic. Madoka doesn't mistrust people so much as her and Kasuga are from different backgrounds. Madoka, being a delinquent, has been exposed to the world of adults in the way Kasuga hasn't. Yeah. City Hunter is so much fun. The mainline series is great, but I only found one of the OVAs is good. The other one, the one at the amusement park. They just kind of describe each one, like the TV specials and stuff. It's like, okay. I would have understand if it was like a movie or something. But like, they also, it's like, I don't know, it's very selective, right? They do it for like TV specials, but then there's other ones where they're like, a couple movies came out. It's also produced 4 movies. It's like, okay. Yeah, Ayaka was cool. I like her. Kasuga's sisters and his cousin Kazuya. Yeah. Oh, all right. So I made it a little past 2 hours. It's 9:39 for me. My God. That was a good time. Good reading. Whoop. Start streaming. I barely use the screen. Nah, it's fine though. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. What do you want to, if there's a open read you want me to read some entries, maybe Belladonna, or what was the other one? I have to scroll all the way up. Let me see. Greg wanted Candy, Alien stressed. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Damn it. Or Tales of the Street Corner was the other one. Perhaps. Tales of the Street Corner. Yeah, just as I thought. There we go. I just saw it. There you go. Okay, let's read it. Tales of Symphonia. Tales of the Street Corner. Posters on a street corner each tell their own story. A circus poster and several advertisements briefly come to life, and a pianist and a violinist from separate pictures fall in love. Meanwhile, a little girl in a nearby garret apartment loses her doll, which finds a new friend in the mouse playing in the gutter, who saves it from being swept away in a rainstorm. Military posters are slapped over the peacetime images, and the buildings are destroyed by enemy bombs. However, in the aftermath, the girl, the mouse, and her doll are all safe, and the military posters have blown away, revealing the originals underneath. There is no dialogue. The film tells its stories visually and notably in a limited animation form, debunking the apocryphal story that Tezuka's first limited animation production was the later Astro Boy. Yeah, I mean, apocryphal story? I don't know what that means. Apocryphal. Define. Not translate. Define. Apocryphal. Of a story or statement of doubtful authenticity, although widely circulated as being true. I mean, sure, apocryphal story that Tezuka's first limited animation production was Astro Boy. Yeah, sure. I think people mostly say it as the first TV anime, like the first real hardcore, 20-minute ass TV anime. Which there's, what is it called? What's it called? It's that ecchi one. I have it saved. Senin Buraku, which is not full length. They are 11-minute episodes. But that came out in 63? Just still early, which is still, unless it came out the same day as, I don't know. Oh. Oops. There's some people. Huh? Sorry, it's a group chat thing. Anyway, let me read some more. Sorry. Tales of the Street Corner also relies on, to some extent, on the limitations of exhibition at the time it was made. In that it was seemingly designed, like Piggyback Ghost, to impress audiences at a single screening, and then do its job promoting its studio through attractive stills in brochures. Certainly, it does not hold up to prolonged scrutiny in the cold, repeatable light of the video age, but it was never intended to. Huh? Released in the US on DVD as part of the Astounding World of Tezuka. See also Street Corner Fairy Tales. What? Certainly it does not hold up to prolonged scrutiny in the cold, repeatable light of the video age, but it was never intended to. I haven't even seen Street Corner, and I know that's kind of weird to say. That is kind of strange. In the Kimba entry, do they try to pass off the now debunked theory that was ripped off a Lion King? Oh, let's find out. I guess the people presume Astro Boy is the first thing he animated ever, which is fair because those shorts are seldom seen until they got a collected DVD release. I have Tales of Street Corner because it's bundled with a bunch of old Tezuka shorts. Right, they do mention that. Okay, let's find Kimba. That'd be hilarious. But I first want to look up Tales of the Street Corner in the first edition. I read that from the third edition because it was easier to search. But I actually kind of want to take a quick look to see if it was any different. I'm just looking for it. I don't think it's here. I don't think they have it listed in the first edition. Oh, Moshinoi. Maybe they considered it a short, and they didn't include it because of that. They usually don't include shorts like that. Because, like, they don't include daikon, of course. Of course. No, I don't see it. Maybe if I look up Aru Machikado in the back, usually I can kind of fiddle with that. Because they list it in the dumb, different way sometimes. Aru. Yes, it is right there. 379. It is listed somewhere else. 379. I just want to have a quick double check to see if it's the same article, if they do anything different. Oh, it's called... they call it Stories from a Street Corner in the first edition. And then they call it Tales of the Street Corner in the third edition. They actually don't include that blurb about certainly it does not hold up to prolonged scrutiny. They don't include that in the first edition. All it says is there's no dialogue. The film tells the stories visually. The first work to be produced by Tezuka's Mushi Productions. The second would be Astro Boy. So they have that in the 2001 first edition, and then they have debunking the apocryphal story that Tezuka's first limited animation production. Like, they kind of really like rub that in. And they kind of give a little further information about it, but yeah, interesting. What the fuck? It looks great. Has a flat animation style like the Pink Panther openings. It's really neat. I think it's a criticism. It's indeed made to impress people, and having seen it myself, I found it rather quaint and indulgent, even if the animation style was neat. It focuses on the posters coming to life and the style fits so well. Kind of want to watch Tales now since chat seems to love it. You can find copies of it on YouTube, although they're not legal. I think it would be tighter if the stuff with the mouse wasn't in it, but still great. Yeah. Alright, let's look up Kimba. Boop. I'm just gonna look in the first edition. I'm just gonna read the first edition and not. I won't look at the third one yet. Kimba. Kimba the White Lion. It's a big article, so I don't want to read the whole. Oh my god, I already found it. Ah! I'm not gonna read the entire thing. But right here, this version was also, this is about the movie, this version was also eventually released in the US, but not until after an unexpected brush with controversy in the mid-1990s. The series had slowly faded from public perception until the release of Disney's The Lion King. The tale of a lion called Simba, whose father dies, who just can't wait to be king, who has a mandrill for a counselor, an argumentative parrot-like bird, a hornbill, for a friend, and an evil scarred lion adversary, plus bumbling hyena minions. Like Kimba, Disney's Simba is also haunted by his father's face in the clouds, a fact lampooned in an episode of The Simpsons when the ghostly apparition of Disney's Mufasa appears to Lisa and mixes up the Simba Kimba names. Oh my gosh, really? I don't think YMS even talked about that. I don't think YMS even knew about that. I certainly don't remember him mentioning that in his video. And mixes up the Simba Kimba names. The moon... Wait. In the clouds. Disney representatives made the unlikely assertion... Oh, yeah, there it is. Disney representatives made the unlikely assertion that the entire production staff of The Lion King was unaware of the Tezuka original, including co-director Roger Allers, who, by Disney's own admission, had spent 2 years in Tokyo working on Little Nemo. The controversy was given further fuel when Fumio Suzuki, a creditor who claimed partial ownership of the original 1965 series, authorized the re-release of 8 episodes on video as Kimba the Lion Prince, with a new dub that seemed deliberately calculated to imply further, previously non-existent parallels with the hapless Disney production. Ironically, the controversy over the Disney film may have pushed Tezuka Productions into making yet another version of its own work, the movie Kimba the White Lion in 1997, aka much to the annoyance of Encyclopedia compilers Jungle Emperor Leo. Recycled just a little too late to warrant the filmmaker's claims that it was in honor of the original's 30th anniversary. This time directed by Toshio Takeuchi and with character designers by Sugino. I actually didn't know Sugino worked on it. Cool. The big budget Kimba anime is the last incarnation to date. Disney would inadvertently antagonize the anime audience again with Atlantis. See Secret of Blue Water. Oh no. I'm over it. I'm pretty convinced by YMS's video, very much going through very thoroughly breaking down the entirety of Kimba the White Lion as an IP, and coming to the conclusion that they're not the same, and it's just coincidences that you'll find in all kinds of media. That I love my favorite point of his making that he found a comic from the 20s that has similar parallels to Kimba, and it's like, well, shit, you know. Kimba's father appears in a moon, not the clouds. Oh no, did they think it was a rip-off? Lion King rips off Kimba? You're like totally about that. Simpsons Tezuka reference based. I've tweeted this out before, but let me pull this up. Let me pull this up on desktop. One sec. Let me blow your minds. Arthur Osamu Tezuka. Let me get this pulled up in a sec. Let me make sure I can desktop audio can hear this.
Oh no! Osamu Tezuka-san wa manga no kami-sama desu.
Osamu Tezuka-san wa manga no kami-sama desu. He's the god of manga. Oh my god! This is from a scene when Buster had traveled all over the world with his dad, and he was coming home, and Arthur was like, what if he's a different person now? And he's just like, oh no!
Osamu Tezuka-san wa manga no kami-sama desu.
Briefly slams the door. I thought it was so fucking funny. Oh my god, it's just so funny. It's just a fucking Tezuka reference and fucking Arthur. Anyway, let me yeah. Oh my god. Let me know if the levels are okay. So fucking funny. I think Kimba may have inspired Lion King, but the plot and characters are so different that plagiarism didn't happen. I know, it's like whatever, man. Amazing. Let's go. Yeah, Alien, I'm sorry I didn't read your the name earlier. I apologize. I'm so happy you're still watching. Alien Shresta. Good to see you. Yeah. Can you check the Sword of Truth to see if there are any bad takes about Dazaki? Oh yeah. Oh, I'm almost positive. Sword for Truth. Can't wait. QRS. Sword for Truth. Probably a lot of swords in the S. Sword for Truth. I'm not going to read the whole thing. They do the whole plot. Based on a novel by Yototen creator Joe Toriumi, Sword for Truth oozes style and mystery with gorgeous art direction by Yukio Abe. However, the limited animation that characterizes Dazaki's direction, like Blackjack, lets it down. Though optioned by Manga Entertainment in the hope that it would be another Ninja Scroll, it is nowhere near as good. To add insult to injury, the anime was infamously advertised with the fiendishly inaccurate title, Ancient Feudal Japan was ruled by clans of shoguns. A live-action version, Legend of the Devil, directed by Masaru Tsushima and starring the incandescently gorgeous Masaki Kiyomoto as Shiranosuke, contains more of our hero's story than Sword for Truth, and retains plenty of the sex scenes, but has less convincing supernatural perils. Yep, so they kind of just blamed Izaki for it not being good. Great. Cool. Love it. It's great. I love it. It's awesome. Like, even Izaki had to work to pay the bills. Yeah, I know, right? But, like, man. I get it with, like, some of his work, right? But it, like, that one that he definitely worked on. There's some work where it's like you can't just, like, just because his name's on it doesn't mean that he really tried. I did watch Sword for Truth, and I honestly think maybe I'm just biased. I am biased, but I actually think his direction actually saved it from being awful, like unwatchable. Like, I was actually, like, happy to see occasional isms from him, like, knowing that he was behind it, you know. But yeah, like, you know, of course it's not about the story being bad or anything. I hate the Tezuka OVA with the alien cat, or the other OVA where a boy falls in love with a poster. Yeah. Sword for Truth sucks because the novel's writer was too hands-on. It was out of Dazaki's control. Interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah, Dazaki's direction is the sole saving grace. Yeah. No, I figure that has to probably, because, like, you know, Dazaki is known for doing a lot of liberties and doing a lot of different stuff with the adaptation of something, and he changes the story in a lot of places. So I wouldn't be surprised if the novel's writer was very hands-on and they were forcing certain narrative decisions that he's like, okay, it'd be probably better if we did it like this, but, you know, or more likely do a favor for his bro since it was a magic bus. Yeah, that's a good reason. I think that's a good guess as well. Yeah. I'm now almost 2.5 hours in. Sorry, I'm just lingering on the desktop. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me. I think I might call it off there. Did all my notes and did a couple open reads. That was a good time. That was a nice reaction to some of these things. Oh my god. Yeah, any final things you want to do, whatever, but I got a few more minutes. But I think I might cut it off here. Share line stream. Yeah. I think I'm gonna, yeah. I'm almost at 2 out of 30, but it's fine. Until next time, y'all. I read somewhere that the novel's author would not allow Dazaki to change anything about the script. Wow. Fuck that. Oh well. Well, my AMV's also ending in this point as well, so I think it's a good time to end it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see you next week. I'm gonna wait for the OVA to end. It's almost over. It's getting there. Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for coming, and hope to see you next week. We're going through the 3rd edition of the first half of C. Watch some AMV collabs if you haven't already. The visuals you've been seeing on screen. I mean, you've technically been watching them already, but the album it's attached to is pretty cool too. Yeah, see you guys later. Almost there. I don't have any audio to. Also, all the tracks ending too. I gotta end it right now. It's so good. Shit. This would be so good to end it right now. All right. Okay, I'm done. Yo, peace.